Welcome to my channel. This is a reading for Cancer, June 2020, career and finance. I'll just quickly mention, if you're new to my channel, welcome. If you are returning, thank you so much for supporting my channel. So I'll just quickly mention, definitely my reading is a little difficult to see all of the cards here. I'm limited by some of my equipment and space. But I will give you just a general synopsis of how I've laid out the cards. General energies for the month of June are those cards that are relating to general energies falling toward the back. I do have more cards toward the side here, which will also be general energies. And I'll go through those and pull them forward as I go through the rest of the reading. I have also pulled some additional cards, which there's actually a lot more here, but I'm just pulling through some of the general cards on the side here, again, that are out of view, but they do relate to the advice cards here. And I also am using several decks. So I do have the Rider-Waite deck, which is primarily what I use for the career and finance, which is central to the reading here itself. I have pulled some clarifier cards that will also be, I'll give you a rundown as we go through. So again, this is some of the cards toward the end of the month, again for career and finance. And I also have just a couple of additional cards that are general energy as well. So again, I'll pull those forward as I go through. But otherwise, the cards that I'm using would be the Book of Rune cards, and that would be those in the center here. So that's Self and Initiation are the cards there. And that one is actually by Ralph Blum. I'm also using the Fortune reading cards, which are toward the back here, Mountain and Unity. And those ones are by Sharina Starr. And I'm also using, I don't use this one too often, but it's actually just regular playing deck cards. And that is actually the fortune telling cards that are by Jonathan D. So I'll go through those ones here as well. And I also have the Witch's Tarot, which is by Ellen Dugan. And I'm also using Goddess Guidance Oracle cards. Try to find where I put those ones here. So again, that was Sedna, and that's by Doreen Virtue. And I'm also using the Wisdom of the Hidden Realms cards, which are off to the side here. And that one is by Colette Baron Reed. And also the Cosmos, which is the same deck. And I'm also using, as I pulled forward here earlier, Archangel Power Tarot cards, which is Doreen Virtue and Radley Valentine. And those are the ones I use primarily, as I mentioned, for just advice cards. And the Enchanted Map, which are the card of Embrace, as well as the Gentle Gardener. And that one is by Colette Baron Reed. And I'm also using the Numerology Guidance Tarot, which is the cards at the back, which is 87 Synchronicity and 10 Karmic Completion. And the last deck, this is actually a new deck that I'm using. It's not really my favorite deck, but sometimes it gives a little condensed energy there. And this one is actually the Oracle deck, and that is by Pam Grout and Colette Baron Reed. So again, it's just a little more, that deck, I would say, it's a really simplistic deck. So again, kind of one or two phrased information. Okay, so I do these late at night, so I'll try to speed it up. Anyway, just as far as the reading itself, the overall energy that I felt that I was picking up from, and again, I feel this relates to, maybe 2 or 3 different types of Cancerians. It's not all relating to one, just because some of the energies, as I mentioned, from it is a general reading. So, for example, if you're dealing with somebody who is 16 or 17 years old versus somebody who's 30 or 50 and more established in a career in finance reading is going to be look like a far different picture for somebody who is a young person getting out into the field versus somebody who's well established in a career. So again, general energy. So please take it as it resonates. Don't try to force that fit. But certainly there are some elements that may be relevant to, different cancers. And that's what I was picking up on. So I do feel that there is, for sure, you're going through some kind of, especially with the rune cards, the self and the initiation, I do feel you're going through some kind of a change here on a personal level. So there's some kind of spiritual growth for sure. I do feel that you are finishing up something that relates to a relationship of sorts, or at least a difficult time with that relationship, I feel is coming to an end. So either you have been able to move past that relationship. Again, I don't do relationship readings, but I do feel that a lot of relationships really are significant parts of our day-to-day business and family life and friendship and all of those things. So there will always be a little bit of overlap. So as far as the ending of a relationship, I just feel that it may not be ending in the sense that you're no longer speaking to this person, but I do feel that it is, however you communicated with this person before, it's all changing now. So there is either some new life or some new understanding that has led you to see each other in a more synchronized way so that you're able to move forward. And I say that because toward the end of the reading, I do see the happiness card here, and I do feel that energy is coming through in a positive light. So again, I feel that there's been some kind of understanding, even though there were some disagreements that were coming through here and harsh words with the Tower moment, but you have moved away from a lot of that energy here. So anyway, just to let you know that the overall energy of the month is one of happiness. I do feel that you have some battles for sure that are still going on, and even toward the end of the month, I still feel that you're trying to gain some clarity on some things here, but by the end of June, there should be some kind of a more permanent resolve here and about the direction that you're headed. And I feel the month of June is also a time where you are resolving your issue with the relationship, but your primary focus is actually on career for the month of June. I feel that there might be some kind of separation or distance from this person that you're dealing with, and that is allowing you to work through these aspects of self, I guess is how I would relay that. So it could be that you're finding answers through just going inward and taking that time on your own, or it could also be that you are going through some kind of level of counsel or counseling that is bringing you to some of these resolutions. But again, I feel that the energy around yourself is not just about a relationship healing. I think it's also more along the lines of a you healing. So there's something that's coming through again with the Temperance card that's about patience and introspection. With the Hermit card, there's a lot of you withdrawing and trying to move past your issues in the month of June. And I do feel there's a lot of that, a lot of inner growth that's gone on for the period of June. So I'll just quickly start off with the general energies of the month. So Synchronicity is the card here at the back. So again, with that, I do feel the universe is lining things up for you. You've made a lot of leaps and bounds toward movements to heal yourself. And with the karmic completion here, I feel that's all relevant there. It's all tied into the same. So the universe is saying you've done a great job in trying to, in actually growing. You've actually grown from whatever this situation was on, relationships help us to grow. They push us into uncomfortable places so that we're able to challenge ourselves and move beyond a certain perspective and move in a direction that favors more of our personal growth and again our ambitions as well. So I feel that you've made enough of those changes that you are being rewarded by the universe, and that's where synchronicity comes in here. So synchronicity again is about having faith in things that may have caused you some uncertainty. You anything that gave you a sense that you were feeling a little bit hopeless, like you'd given up on something here, all of a sudden everything is starting to come together. You've got coincidences starting to occur with synchronicity. You've got the right people starting to appear out of nowhere. You've got opportunities that are starting to, come forward, or you're able to see them now with more clarity. So that's what synchronicity is all about. It's about the universe rewarding you for making the progress that you needed to in terms of growth. So this is really a card of, you might call it magical properties, in that it has given you, it's given you the ability to harmonize or live in alignment, I guess is maybe a better way of putting it, to live in alignment with your true self. And so now you're back on track in the month of June. So there's some positive thoughts and emotions and things that, as I say, that come to you with this. You're attracting the right people. You're starting to, I still feel there's a bit of a struggle with it in that area, as far as your thoughts go, but you're definitely moving in the right direction with synchronicity. So there's also, as I mentioned, karmic completion. And again, I feel a lot of your growth stemmed from that relationship, and that relationship has moved to some new level of understanding. So the karmic relationship card is really one of a lesson being completed. Some kind of cycle is over, contract or debt that's been paid. Whatever that challenging situation was for you that troubled you or left you feeling like you were, putting a lot of effort out with no reward or no, movement. It's now you've seen through this, and these lessons will always be ongoing. You're always going to have challenges. It doesn't mean all problems stop. It just means that the bigger hurdles have been met, and you now have come through to a level of wholeness within yourself to be able to, that will prompt you when you are up against some of, I'm just going to use an example of jealousy, for example. If jealousy was a big part of this karmic completion, maybe one person strayed off and the other, was left with the discomfort of trying to heal, whether that was you or another person. Somewhere along the line now, you have become more whole and you're able to put up some boundaries and parameters, because you now see that feeling extreme guilt, or again, this could be you or somebody else, but I'm just using this as an example. Feeling extreme guilt is not going to resolve the issue, but putting up some parameters and boundaries, saying, well, we've gone this route. This is as far as this particular topic can go without, extreme degradation of the relationship. And so now you either have to let go of it or you make amends. And that's really where I feel you've started to make amends with this person. So again, that lesson isn't likely to be coming up again, because you now feel that you know who you are, or you have a better understanding of why you deviated into this place where things were not, I don't want to say safe, but where things were not going well. It may have been for a moment, but there was such a repercussion that you regretted the situation. So I do feel that you now have an understanding of why you acted as you did, and now you're better able to behave and come up with solutions to whatever future jealousy or future disagreement or future disruption might bring, because you're in you have a foundation now for why you behaved a certain way, and sometimes it just needs reassurance, maybe continual reassurance for someone else to be able to go forward and grow. So just to let you know, you can pat yourself on the back here because you have achieved something. You've created a sense of wholeness within yourself. And now in doing so, you have some respect for yourself, which means others can start to respect you. And these are rewards that will come through to you from the universe in terms of synchronicity. So that's what this card is really all about. You're better able to heal your situation now. Okay, so I'm going to go on to the next cards, and I should mention that karmic card as well. The karmic completion card is also speaking to the Wheel of Fortune, which you also have in another deck, which is the Archangel deck. So that is the Wheel of Fortune, again, is when synchronicities occur, and it's when things line up. You've got new beginnings, end of old cycles, and as the card says here, new beginnings, end of delays, a change in direction that offers happiness. So it's a positive movement. And that also is in the other deck, which I just read to you, is the karmic completion. So there's a lot of duplication here, and that also reinforces the message that you're winding things up, that there has been some progress. Now you are able to reap the rewards from those challenges because you have, I don't want to say made the right decisions, but you have been able to change your perspective, shift your perspective. So in thinking more in line with who you are and where you're supposed to be headed, from that perspective, you've made the right decisions. So, and that's why you're being rewarded. And again, rewards may not come all in the month of June, but because I don't see a lot of pentacles in the month of June, which to me speaks to your money situation staying pretty much the same. I feel that you're still working on some new projects, but there's collaboration now. You've got people coming in. Which I feel that what's happening here with your money situation for the month of June is that you're hanging on to it. I think you're juggling some of your expenses. I think you do have some money saved. But again, I feel it's just you hanging on to the money right now. Not really sure how you're going to go about spending it yet. You might be contemplating where you're going to be spending it, whether it's going on debt or whether it's, a portion of it is going on your goals and dreams that you're trying to manifest, that kind of thing. But for sure, I feel you're just hanging on to the money right now, even though you're still working on your other projects. Okay, so going into Mountain. Mountain is... That's the Sharina Star deck. And again, that is, know that you are protected as you face challenges, but remain cautious. So with this card, as I said, challenges are always going to be there. It doesn't matter month to month. There's always some kind of a hurdle, whether it's inner or outer. It's still a time where you need to go within, seek answers, or find new resources to help bring about some resolve. But for the month of June, you're going inward for those answers, is what I see here. So this is a card, again, of protection. And I just want to quickly refer to the angel card here with Temperance. That is also a card of protection. So just to be aware that you've got a couple of, they're doubled in a lot of these, just going to turn off a light. Hopefully that'll reduce down some of the glare. But I do feel with the Mountain card, that this is a card that is letting you know that you can't really fail in the month of June because you are being rewarded. So I believe the best way to explain it would be we get energy doorways that open for us that allow us to heal, or allow us rewards, or allow us energy to pursue a goal, or allow us clarity. As we go through challenges and we are able to grow, then we get another energy doorway that releases us from further blockages, and we're allowed to go down a particular path. So this card, as I say, is one of protection. You know, it does let you know that there could be some potential things happening in the month of June, which I feel a little more on the self-induced side versus direct challenges to you externally. But there are some struggles that could still be coming through, and quarrels and confrontations, that kind of thing, with relationships. And certainly, as I mentioned, I still feel this could be in that first week of June, moving into a little bit of the middle, just because you do have the Tower moment. And with the King of Swords, I do feel there is some of that quarrel coming through there. But again, with the Mountain, you know, you're being protected. So it is something that you're going to be able to, yes, challenged, but yes, you'll be able to face it and find out some way of dealing with the challenge. So it also speaks to, so even though you might be a little upset here in the month of June, whether, again, it feels like it's probably, I feel it's a little bit throughout the period of June. There is some aspect of it in the beginning of June and again toward the end. Just reviewing the cards here. Yeah, so somewhere in that first week of June, which I know that we're still basically in that because I'm starting out the readings a little bit later, but also toward the end of June, you've got some inner battle, I feel, going on there. But the quarrel itself was likely somewhere in that first week of June, and maybe even moving into it over the next day or two. But outside of that, as I say, not a big deal because you do find a resolve here at the end of the month. But anyway, relationships can kind of take you off, off your course for a little bit, slow you down with some of these difficulties. But it's not a time, it's just a time for you to be careful as well in terms of meeting people on the internet. If you are somebody who is single and not in a relationship, just to be a little careful on meeting people, who you disclose information to, that kind of thing, because you might be in the month of June facing some falsehoods where people might be trying to deceive you here. So just be really tread a little lightly here for that, for things that deal with your relationships. But in terms of money, it does also speak to being a little cautious with that as well. You've got gossip and those kinds of things that could be coming in here for the month of June. You don't want to get caught up in that. Maybe some hidden enemies on the business front, that kind of thing. But either way, it's just a card of being cautious and, not overly confrontational and direct. Just to step back a little bit here. And then you have, as I mentioned, the card of unity. So this one is a time of divine understanding, renewal, peace, and hope, and you radiate and attract great love. So I do feel, again, that loving relationship that you had some challenges with, or will be in, as I say, the first week of June, maybe a little bit over the next couple of days where there's some harsh words. I do feel that with that karmic completion that there is some kind of a resolve toward the end of the month. But again, I do feel that it is a very close relationship, whether it is a relationship between friends, or a relationship between lovers, or a business partnership of some sort. But either way, and again, I think that's going to take have a different appearance for several of you. I do feel on one front, one group of people, this relates to more of a relationship on a romantic front. And for the others, as I say, business oriented, because I'm getting two different, very different energies here. One that's very strongly coming through on the career front, and the other is, a little more on the relationship front. But again, relationships could be, and this is a soulmate card as well. But you can have soulmates with your friends. You can have soulmates as lovers. You can have soulmates, within families as well. So just to be aware of that this is about that soulmate experience where you want to get closer. But it is a time of letting go of any restrictions in relation to this connection. So there is some trust, that's trust and communication that's coming through for the month of June, even though there is some kind of an argument around it as well. So it is all about emotions and feelings and developments and rewards and, creating harmony, and that goes on the business front as well. So whether this harmonious union is in creating a better bond, or creating a certain amount of energy that uplifts two people in a business sense. Either way, it's coming through strong in a very positive way. So there, as I said, there is going to be some kind of an argument or disagreement here with the Tower moment that's probably in around that first week of June, first week to middle of June. But either way, it does resolve. So again, on the career front, this card can also indicate for this other group of Cancers that there's a new business project or a new job or a career change, real estate investments, something with buying and selling, that kind of thing that could be coming up. But either way, you're finding yourself in the driver's seat, and you're liking what you hear. So it's a very positive experience. Whether, as I say, it's a new job or new opportunity, there's something that's coming through on that front that is allowing you to feel optimistic. So I think what I'll do is read the Wisdom of the Hidden Realms cards next. So that is the Cosmos. So again, this one's about creativity and, being expansive. So I do feel that you are still working on a creative project. I don't feel like you're working on this alone, however, because I do feel there is another card over here toward the back that relates to, creating some mastery, but also I feel that there's other people involved in this creation, in this creative project. Even though, as I say, for the month of June, I do feel you're spending a lot of time on your own, in recluse mode or trying to resolve some things, but I do feel the actual creative project or thing that you're working on involves a lot of other people. So this, as I say, is it's just about you putting some attention on this creative project. You're always co-creating, with the universe. So this is about that infinite possibilities and expansiveness, and that you have the power to influence others in the month of June as well. So this is really a card that's reminding you that just be aware of your thoughts and actions, because they do influence your outer world. So as I mentioned, I do feel that you were moving in the direction of being more positive, but I also feel that there is some inner battle, especially toward the end of the month, that shows that you are not completely grounded in your thought process. So there's still a little bit of push-pull going on there about, negative thinking or something along that line. So just be aware that whenever you have a lot of these negative thoughts, not only do they impact you personally, they also can attract the wrong people. And again, you're looking to be inspired here for the month of June to be able to create something. So, and you want to be able to draw other people to help you, and you certainly do have some kind of influence or power that can help to manifest that in the month of June. But again, it's going to depend very strongly on your thinking, your level of thinking. If you're quite negative, it's going to, repel maybe some of the people that you need around you to make something happen. Okay, so moving on past that, we'll read the Eyes of Beauty, which is positive expectations and clarity. So this card is really just that. It's about examining your perceptions and about how you see the world. If you see it as beautiful, you have a better chance of drawing the things that are beautiful to you. Or it is about your perception. So if the glass is half empty or full, that matters. If you're always looking like everything has a void or devoid of potential, then you're never going to be able to get there because you're not seeing what's available to make it happen. So again, you have to move forward with conviction. And if you're thinking along the lines of, purpose, and you're clear about that purpose, and you're hopeful that you will bring about or see the beauty in a particular situation, then you will attract the right people, as I mentioned, and you'll see some prosperity from that. So again, if you're too self-centered and you're seeing only the flaws in another person or yourself, or if you're looking for all the wrong things, this is not exactly how things are. We all may admire perfection in things, but sometimes the imperfect is what brings about the thing that you need. There was some, I don't remember who the inventor was of the sticky notes, but they were intending to create something else with the sticky note pad, and they actually were, and now it's become such a big part of our culture. Everybody knows what the sticky note pad is, and that's something that was completely a fluke. It was not intended to be that. It was actually, the glue was intended to be something else entirely, but it ended up being a very productive part of our business day. So again, sometimes seeing the possibility in some of the imperfect is just where you need to be. So shift your perception and try to find the beautiful in the imperfect, and maybe again not try to be so set on observing only the perfect. Shift your vision here a little bit. Okay, so moving past that, we will go into, I think I will go into the sad embrace. So that one is the Enchanted Map cards. So that is this card here. So the Sad Embrace card is you've taken some kind of a loss. Not sure what that is just yet, but there is a loss and there's some kind of letting go, and that's to be able to, it could be just you hanging on to an old self or an old idea of self that you're having to let go of. And this is, it's difficult. It's difficult to let go of, a mindset or who we used to be for so many years and move into a place of, even though it's a sense of wholeness, it's still new territory, so it's uncomfortable. But again, this is just the theme of the card, that it's some kind of, you're letting go of some kind of long cherished dream, whether it was with another person or a business aspect that needed to change. You're having to revamp, you're having to look at that ending, see the good in it and accept the loss. But again, seeing it imperfectly can help you gain, can help you gain some kind of leverage in a new situation. So again, don't look at the disappointment as loss. I mean, it's okay to feel the feelings and feel the sadness and feel the grief for that moment. And, if you're worried about something and you have to allow yourself that little bit of release emotionally, allow it to just go through you and get back on to, where you were headed. Goals and dreams, I don't feel end, but they do shift, they do transform. So if you had to lose the goal or the dream in the way that you imagined it, you're just reimagining how it's going to unfold now. So again, it's important just to remember that sometimes the imperfect is where you can find a new perfect. So whatever that loss is, there is going to be some kind of beauty that lies ahead of this. It doesn't feel like it's a loss of something you were familiar with, but it's not a permanent loss. It is a transformation of that loss, is what I'm getting. This is the Gentle Gardener. And the Gentle Gardener is really a card that is speaking to integrity. So it's about being your own person. It's about, again, co-creating with the universe. It is a card that's letting you, reminding you about, again, keeping check of the thoughts that you keep in your head, your feelings and your belief systems, and making sure that you are reflecting on thoughts that help you to see limitless possibility and remain in a integral part of yourself, because that's what you want to send out into the world. Because when you do that and you're gentle with yourself and you speak to yourself as you would speak to a small child, think of it just in relation to that, you're encouraging generally with children and supportive of children, and you want to see them do well. And if you take that same mentality for yourself, you're also able to flourish. You're able to gain some insight, but you're also gaining in a sense of prosperity. So it's not just you finding your own soul purpose and movement in the right direction toward achieving your goal, but it is feeling balanced as well and whole and centered. So it's a lot more encompassing with that card. Okay, so the next card would be, I think we'll go into the Self and the Initiation card, and that's actually the rune cards. So with the Self card, again, I feel that you were doing a lot of soul searching here in the month of June. You've come to a lot of new conclusions about yourself. I feel that you know yourself better here in the month of June. There's a lot more clarity. You're willing to make the changes you need to make now. You're much more effective now because you are able to see things with a better sense of direction. I feel that you have a correct relationship now for yourself. So it's not only just when you're able to see have a better relationship with yourself, you're also able to create a better relationship with others. So just to remain modest. This is not a card of arrogance. This is a card of you connecting to yourself and finding that true direction. So it's about you living an ordinary life in a non-ordinary way. This is about you finding the path that will lead you to major growth. And once you're in a stage of moving toward growth, you have to remember that, as was referenced in the other card with the garden, you have to till the seeds, in a garden before, after you've planted it. So the garden is weeded before the flower blooms, that kind of thing. So, and able to know yourself, there has to be a period of stillness and getting to know your own beliefs, values, your own songs that, connect you to you. I'm just using that metaphorically, but it's not a time for, getting credit and being self-absorbed, that kind of thing. Again, it's about you focusing on results, but it's also about you doing a task because it needs to get done, and taking pleasure in that because you now know where you're headed with that task. So you're doing what you need to get done because it needs to be done. You're centered in where you're headed with this direction. So it's okay. You don't mind doing the task because you know it revolves around a greater purpose. So in terms of the rune cards, the way the rune deck expresses it is that you can more easily find yourself in your work. You haven't forgotten how to play, but you can now take solace in the balance of when you cut down the self in the middle, there's joy, and it's a mirror image between the selves. But you don't want to be careless. You want to continue to balance this energy, nothing in excess, because balance of the self is what keeps you on the path. When things get out of balance, you deviate down the wrong roads. You get slowed down. You have more challenges. So there's a phrasing in here with this card that also says that there's nothing in excess, but there's also a gateway above Delphi, and the gateway to the temple of Delphi says, know thyself. And that's written over the gateway. And you really do need to know yourself before you're able to progress forward and enjoy the path. A lot of people can push forward really hard. I'm just going to use a random example, but if a person wanted to be a doctor or something and it was prompted by their parents and they never moved in that direction, or if they did move in that direction and it wasn't satisfying, then, you get to a place where you're at risk of trying to figure out who you are again at a later time. So for whatever age you are right now, I feel you are now finding some kind of hidden secret, which was previously unknowable parts of yourself, and that's what initiation is about. This card is about that phoenix rising. The phoenix is the mystical bird that throws itself into the fire and rises from its own ashes. So this is where the secrets are hidden. This card is letting you know that you've got powerful forces that are moving in your favor. Things are at work here to continue making you whole. And, again, you're discovering your own secrets. You're discovering your own ebb and flow. You're discovering your own power, your own energy, your own strength, your own quest is allowing you to figure out the deepest parts of yourself. So that is your bedrock. That is where destiny is founded. This is, internal. It's an internal journey. It's not an external journey. So you're letting go of the things that no longer move you in the direction of where you want to go. The things that were blocking you in the past. Maybe you were expecting too much of other people, or maybe, other people had very great expectations of you. But either way, they were setbacks, and maybe there was a lot of humiliation or something that, tested your character. But either way, this is you feeling firm and centered, and you're reformed on your deepest level. Okay, so moving on to Sedna, which is the infinite supply card. So Sedna is letting you know that the universe is supplying everything that you need to know right now. It's giving you that energy doorway. It's open for you to take advantage of. So you are supplied for today and all of your tomorrows is what the card says. And it's about, the key is to balance the two. You don't want to, and again, you've got cards of balance here as well coming through with the Two of Pentacles. So there's lots of cards of balance that are coming through that you need to continue. Lots of 2s and 4s as well. Again, speaking to balance. But again, this is all about you. When you gave, or when a person gives too much, they feel drained. You know, when you don't give enough, you can't receive. And so there's always that imbalance, and then you can become a little, you know, fearful or selfish, or, you know, it's just resentful, whatever. As I say, these are all imbalanced feelings. But this card again is about letting you know, like breathing, inhale, exhale. You know, you want to practice that on a daily basis so that you control it, because if you don't practice something, it controls you. But it is a card again of not to worry, because whatever you need will present itself. So whether it's people that you need to be able to move ahead on your goal, that will come around in June and probably carry on through, you know, further into the other months. But you're meeting these people in June that will help you to move forward. So, you know, if it's causes, you know, charities, things that you want to give to that you feel support where you're headed, that's the time to do it. That's the time to take advantage and move on, those kinds of things. Okay, so moving on to, I'm going to read the fortune telling playing cards. So the cards that you have here, again, eights are all about balance and those kinds of things, and aces for sure, home, family, creativity and passion and that kind of thing. The queens, you know, again, could be speaking to about a person here on that front. You know, somebody who might have darker hair or eyes, that kind of character. Could be you or another person. But first we'll start off with just the 8. So the 8 of spades, again, this card really speaks to some kind of impaired judgment. So it could also represent a Gemini energy, that kind of person, but it's you feeling frustrated. Again, these are general energies for the month. But there's two sides to the 8 of spades in this deck. So on the one hand, there's joy. And then on the other side of that joy, something has ended. So it's more a sense of relief that the nastiness of whatever you were going through is over. It might be that you've got a little bit of residual upset or paranoia that's still there. But overall, this card actually represents garden. So again, it's a card of you're letting off steam. So again, it did speak to, with the tower moment here, it did speak to there being an argument in the month of June that would cause you a little bit of upset. But again, this card is still letting you know that you're moving past it. You've escaped it in some way. So whatever that misunderstanding or argument was with an old friend or a lover or a business partner, it's just reactive behavior. And I don't feel that it's just a card of frustration. And again, it could be around somebody who is representative of the Queen of Clubs, because that card is, again, about someone who it could be, again, just the characteristics of the person. Doesn't have to be dark-haired, dark-eyed, olive-skinned person, that kind of thing. But it is a Leo energy, somebody who's a little fiery. So just the qualities of this person could be somebody that you know, or yourself, somebody who's really social and outgoing and friendly, very charming, and has a certain grace and elegance about them. But somebody who is quite a responsible person as well, and is able to adjust to circumstances or situations by being charming. They're not, I wouldn't say this person is manipulative. I do think that there's some rapid mood swings that go with this person, which could cause some upset there. But I feel that there's just some occasional periods of loneliness or sadness for this person, but this person can be very thrifty, but has excellent taste this is somebody who has strong influence, maybe on your life, or just in general has a presence. So with the Ace of Hearts, as I mentioned, that card is about home and family and those kinds of things. It's also about romantic prospects, fulfilling relationships, marriage, joy, goodness, that kind of thing. So, I mean, this could very well have been a frustration around this person. And again, they don't have to have dark hair and whatever. It could be just the energy of the individual, but it could be around the home front, the family, and again, it could be about passion or creativity, something that you had some frustration about as well. And that Queen could represent you or your energy. But it is either way with the Ace of Hearts, something about deep feelings, that can come from creativity, can come from music or artistry, as I said. And it's definitely a home card. So whether it is news coming from or to a family member, or again, regarding a close friend, something like that. Somebody who has been out of your contact for a little bit of time, whether you're separated, there's showing some kind of separation between the two of you. But either way, it is a card letting you know that there's an ending to that feud or that dispute, and there's a readiness to forgive and forget, that kind of thing. And so there's a reestablishment of that partnership or that friendship or that home front, or, there's just an overall happiness. So something has come through that may have been misdirected, but now it has resolved itself. So again, I guess I probably don't need to go into that much more than I have, since it's a repeat throughout the reading here. So I think what we'll do now is I'm going to go into the Witch's Tarot, and these ones I know are not in full view. They are toward the back here. So I do actually have the High Priest, and I've got the Nine of Cups. So the Nine of Cups, definitely a really positive card. The High Priest is, I feel, is about you finding, you're maybe confiding in someone at this time. Maybe it was during the time of you having this dispute, you've confided in somebody. But either way, the High Priest is somebody that you are, somebody that you've had to reach out to kind of resolve something anyway. I mean, it could even be a confidant, like a person that you know. It could be a counselor even, but either way, it's a wise person, someone that you've reached out to help you solve or resolve your issue. And it is bringing about a happiness because of the Nine of Cups, which is the, and I should also mention too, these are just general energies with these two cards. So it could be legal advice that was sought. Again, it could even refer to further education, or again, it's still a dispute that has been resolved with the High Priestess. And the Nine of Cups is that card letting you know that you found your way through it. It's a happy card. So you've uncovered some kind of personal truth with that. And again, with the Nine of Cups, you were able to, it's a wish card, it is a wish card that you've been able to find some kind of celebration or reason to celebrate. And I said celebrate because the next two cards are just that. You've got the Ten of Cups and the Seven of Pentacles. So, you are celebrating. That was the next cards that fell right after. So with the Ten of Cups, that's really just letting you know that you've got a new beginning. Sorry, the Ten of Cups is just really about a positive mindset. You've got happy family here. You've got, the Seven of Pentacles. So you've worked on something, and it's starting to, it's creating benefit to you now. So there is that fellowship, that community, that friendship. You've got good relationships, happy outcome. All of that goes with the Ten of Cups. And then I should mention again, like with the Seven of Pentacles, I mean, in terms of a relationship, as I say, I mean, I feel like you've seeded things and you're starting to see some growth in that area. But I mean, on the business front, it still speaks of achievement, but still just at the beginning stages of something. So, but again, maybe because you've also got the card of Epiphany here as well in the Archangel, I feel that you have been able to resolve something, as I mentioned, and that's why I think there's a celebration that's going on there. And definitely with the Seven of Pentacles, you've already planted the seeds, and now it's just something that's come to fruition here. So you've also got the Page of Cups that's coming through. The Page of Cups is also messengers, but there's a victory that's coming through with that. I'll bring it forward here. Page of Cups and Six of Wands. The victory is the Six of Wands, so it's a recognition, it's happiness, it's, you've accomplished what you needed to. The Page of Cups is that new beginning. It's about embracing hope, it's rediscovering joy, it's, exploring your own gifts, your intuition, and again, bringing about studies here. But there's some kind of a successful, happy feeling that goes with the page. So it's about not being worried. You're ready to dive in, new adventures coming through here. So that is, again, with the Witch's Tarot deck. And we also have, I feel it's also on a bit of a front here of career, because as I say, there's some kind of career move that is allowing you to feel happy. For one set of Cancers here, as I say, because you've got one, you're dealing with some kind of emotional aspect, but I do feel, as I say, I mean, you've got the Magician card and you also have the Nine of Wands. So I feel there's energy. Nines are all about action. So I feel with the Nine of Wands, you're able to move on something that you have chosen to manifest. So I do feel that this is a goal that you were, for the month of June, that you are starting to move on. You're balancing things with the Magician. This is about you being confident. You're tapping into your own powers. You're standing in your own integrity. This is a card of as above, so below, but also as within, so without. So we exist on many different planes, both spiritual and astral and the physical. And the energetic. So this is a card of letting you know you've got all the tools at your disposal. You're moving things, you're corresponding things to line up in your favor, bringing people to you, using your own personal power and connection, and your own strength and will to make this happen. You've got a lot of energy behind this with the Nine of Wands. There's a lot of energy to bring about this goal that you want to achieve. And it is going to bring you some happiness. And again, there's a victory of some sort. So you are gaining some kind of leverage in the month of June, something that is moving in your favor, that you're quite happy about, that you're actually celebrating. And it is some kind of part of the wish. It's part of the wish, that you were trying to manifest. So again, with the Nine of Wands as well, sometimes that's a little bit about being on alert, protecting yourself, and just being alert to trouble, standing on guard, and being strong. So that was also coming through with another of the cards in the beginning of the reading. So just to be mindful of that. So the card following that is the 9 and 10 of Swords. So those are cards of some anxiety, definitely beginning and end of a cycle here with the 10 of Swords. So I do feel, I'm just going to pull it forward here so you can see one clarifies the other, that there's a bit of a progression. So you go from feeling really stressed out and lots of anxiety up in your head, and just feeling trapped. You might be just overreacting here. There might be a lot of feeling of restriction, but it's really letting you know things are not as bad as it seems. There's always a way out of this 9 of Swords, and you found the way out with the 10 of Swords. It was a beginning and end of a cycle. So these are the times that you want to ask yourself things like, what am I actually fearing here? Is it something that I have any control over? If not, how do I compartmentalize it so that I can move forward? You can't always fix it. I feel that with the Ten of Swords so closely connected here, this is also, there's kind of a drama king or queen sort of feeling that goes with this. So there might have been a lot of over-exaggerated emotion, as I said, with the Nine of Swords mixed with the Ten of Swords, because a lot of this is relating to toxic mindsets or toxic people, feeling you were stabbed in the back or some kind of betrayal, something like that. But there is an end of that, an end to that cycle. So moving past that deck, we are getting into the reading itself for the finance. So, and then we'll get to the last part, which is the advice cards. So the beginning of June, I felt you had a lot of ideas going on here with the Empress. This is also a Libra energy. So there could very well have been somebody who was a Libra in your sphere, but it's a mother card. This is somebody who, in terms of career, represents developing of self as well. So, if you're developing yourself, which you were throughout the month of June, that stands to reason you've got a lot of ideas that are coming through with that card, as I said. So it's also about owning your own power, and this is a card of taking action as well, and being instinctive. So you're using, and rewards are coming with this card, because you have set out on a journey, and you've got some really good ideas that are coming through here. I feel that you have, because you've got the Emperor in here as well, I do feel that, for sure, I think the Emperor is actually you, and this Libra energy isn't necessarily you, but, I mean, it could be, but it can stand for a person, as I mentioned. But with the Emperor and the Empress, and you've got both in this reading, granted the other is further down, but with the Emperor and the Empress, they are really complementary. It's both the male and female energies. So this is for the other set of Cancers that I believe are regarding relationship. This one is actually about, they're complementary because they are opposite. And it's really a mirror of the same. Very masculine to the very feminine. So, where the Emperor stands for, somebody who's very controlling and dominant, and could very well be an authority figure here as well, but it's somebody who's protective and security minded, that kind of thing. Knows how to manifest things as well, but so does the Empress. And this is, somebody who's quite disciplined with the Emperor. But with the Empress, this is somebody who has, plenty of success, lots of ideas. This is somebody who is, could even represent, somebody, just trying to kind of balance this out, figure out the, I do feel that, this is somebody who, she's got personal power. So I feel that there is because they're two opposing forces, but really of the same coin, if that makes any sense. I feel that this person really is your match. This is somebody who really is your equal. And you did actually have the Ten of Swords in there earlier too, and that really speaks to, taking control of how you talk to yourself, and there's a lot of mind activity going on here. So I do feel that, like, there's lots of swords. There is a lot of wands in this reading too, but there's a lot of mental energy, a lot of emotion, a lot of intensity with the two of these people. So again, this could be a friendship, it could be a family member, it could still, refer to somebody that you're in a relationship with as well. But this Empress is somebody who normally is it's a person of action. It's somebody who, as I said, does a lot of self-development and is very compassionate and creative and nurturing and, overall usually looking after themselves. This is somebody who really is intelligent and artistic, an excellent parent, that kind of thing. Whereas the Emperor is the complete, almost the complete opposite, very controlling, somebody who is, as I say, very dominant, has a lot of inner strength, somebody who is quite confident, whereas versus the Empress, who's very nurturing and creative. So again, I'm not going to go too much further into that, but I do feel that a lot of ideas are coming through at the beginning of June, but that there is a lot of push-pull between those two people, and I do feel they're both people. So, but again, with the eights, and you have a lot of eights here, you are moving away from difficulties. There's a time. This is a time of transition with the Eight of Cups, and again, there's a lot of cups in this reading, so there's a lot of heavy emotion going on in the month of June. So, with the Eight of Cups, you're transitioning, you're transforming. You're able to find some resolves. This is a new direction. You're finding a new route, new balance. This is a time in terms of love, you can be walking away from a lover or walking away from the problems around that. But in terms of career, it's also speaking to big changes that are coming. And I do feel that you're on that journey of self-discovery, which is also a part of this Eight of Cups. And that you are, looking for some kind of spiritual awakening or emotional awakening, something like that, but you are also still protecting your emotions. I feel in the month of June, I feel you're not being extremely open. I think you're being very overcautious, even though you are changing direction and even though you are leaving difficult situations behind you by taking this journey of self-discovery, but you are realizing it's time to, to better yourself. So again, if you were in an unfulfilling job or relationship, you're exploring, how to realign and move past that and goal set and, move into places where you have more fulfillment. So that's the beginning week of June. And again, that card could also speak to you setting up some boundaries around whatever issues that you had. Because you are in the hermit mode here. So hermit mode, again, still in that first week, moving into the second week. The hermit mode is really just stepping back. You're trying to find your answers. You're looking for divine intervention or listening to your inner guidance to be able to resolve the issue before moving forward. I do feel that you are in a period of healing, so there might have been some emotional situation in the beginning of June that left you feeling a little bit withdrawn or just not very motivated. And so you're in a recovery period here. This is really you in isolation, taking a little bit of time to contemplate, find some inner peace, self-care, healing, all of that. And it's also speaking to a lot of lessons having been learned. And again, that speaks to, you've got a couple of cards again that spoke to the wheel. And again, with the epiphany, you've come through a lot of changes. I feel that you are, I don't want to say a completely new person, but you definitely, with that karmic completion card toward the back, you've come through a lot of lessons and a lot of heartache, and you are actually able to move ahead, because the hermit is really where you were feeling like something was missing, but there is accomplishment coming through with this. There is success. There is success even though you felt that there was something missing, there is some form of success again and truth that you're coming toward here with this. But I also feel in terms of a person, you may not be quite ready to make a decision on something yet. Because you do have the card of patience, you do have angel protection here as well. So temperance is really about taking the middle road, that moderate approach, not jumping ahead. And again, I felt that's with the Hermit, you've got sort of that same message. There's success, but there's some synchronicities that still need to line up here. And you've got synchronicity with this card. You also have synchronicity with this card, lot of duplicates. So it's about taking the middle way, doing some healing, balancing, finding the balance to strengthen yourself. I feel that, you might still be feeling a little bit lost or a little bit melancholy, but you are moving on it. You are moving forward. You just need a combination of some things to line up first before you're able to fully grasp your own power, I guess. But it is a place of manifestation. And again, with the Magician card and with the Temperance card here, the Angel, I feel that you've got definite activity going on here. With the Three of Pentacles too, this is a long career path that you're working on. This is not something that's instantaneous, but there is some mastery that's coming through with that. But it is a long career path in terms of money that you're working on. Okay, so again, I felt that there was some kind of an argument coming through with the Tower moment and the King of Swords. The King of Swords for sure could be yourself. It could also represent somebody else, but I do feel the King of Swords is, an individual that is, if it is a person, then it is somebody who's really principled and high standard, authoritative, that kind of thing. And again, that could still go with the Emperor. It doesn't have to be two separate people. But it is somebody that, it also represents a Libra energy, so you could take it on that basis as well. That this, whatever this Tower moment was, this argument was with somebody who is a Libra energy or a Gemini energy or an Aquarius energy. But again, if it's a person outside of the astrological sign, it could characterize somebody who is very intellectual. It could be a police officer, military, somebody who's in law enforcement, somebody who's really capable, lawyer, again, authoritative, realistic, rational kind of person, somebody who is, just very level-headed, has a leadership mind, very strategic, mindset, somebody who is more head over heart, structured, disciplined, that kind of thing. So again, it could also represent cutting people off with the Tower. And if it's not a person, it could represent cutting them off, some kind of separation, so that, because you were in this period of healing, you needed to go inward to try to resolve how to deal with that, because you did have the Hermit, and you also had the Temperance card, and you also are coming out of it, again, because you've got the Six, and sixes are also about balance. So Six of Swords is, moving away from those difficulties as well, again. So you keep coming up with solutions here. You're moving to calmer waters. You are in a place where you're cooperating. You're able to solve those problems, getting over those difficulties, leaving the past behind. Could be that you've moved to a new location or relocated, or that there was some kind of separation for you. You journeyed somewhere to be able to find this balance. But again, it's a card of departure, but not an ending. Necessarily just an ending to the difficulties, but it's the courage to leave behind the things that aren't working for us here. So again, it's that card of transition, and you're letting go of the hardest part of something, but it's a protection card as well. So better times ahead, again, moving away from trouble, whether it was mental or physical journey. And again, it can speak to changing location, but you're feeling more positive about life. And you also have, again, this could speak to a person with the Queen of Cups. Queens are usually a little bit more focused on the details of things. But this is a very intuitive person. If we're talking about this person as a person, it's a very intuitive person, very accurate, and it's also speaking to your intuition being very accurate at this time, but somebody who's emotionally understanding, unconditional love, that kind of thing, can be very creative, tolerant. Somebody is a very compassionate person here. Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces, energy that comes through with this. In terms of feelings, this card would represent, somebody whose company you enjoy to be around. Somebody who, maybe it was a love at first sight kind of a feeling. But I feel that, this is about also learning to love yourself and to look after your own needs. But again, it's a card that's a little more into the future, so it does represent letting go of resentments or anger and just being more compassionate with yourself and with others. So following that is the Two of Pentacles. And again, Pentacles is earthy energy. You've got balance here with the two. So it could be juggling between a couple of things. Multitasker here, weighing some options, showing some flexibility. It can also speak to turning a hobby into a career or working on several projects at one time in terms of finances. But emotionally, it is about you feeling more joyful and relaxed. You're taking things easy, or at least not taking it too personally, or not taking things too seriously, and because you're actually finding a way to adapt. In terms of money, again, juggling finances a little bit here, or could be, as I said, having a couple of things or several choices, two choices that you're kind of jostling between, but it's multitasking. It does speak to not being content, but staying focused, because you're going after peace and some kind of enlightenment here with this card. But again, you're still enjoying the extremes. You're finding a way to balance out those extremes. So again, with the Three of Pentacles, I felt that, you're working on something, you're working on a project. Three of Pentacles is also a creative project. I do feel that you could be doing something that, it's also a card of don't give up as well, because you're manifesting something here. You enjoy working as a team. That's really what this card speaks to. But in terms of feelings, it's also learning to respect yourself. And all the skills are coming together. You're developing some form of expertise on the business front. Again, this is not going to resonate for every Cancerian. I do feel that there's at least 3 Cancerians that I'm approaching here with some of these variations on the card. But, with the Three of Pentacles, this is an ambitious person. Somebody who likes their work, somebody who's strongly connected to their work, and they can identify with their work, somebody who's really competent, somebody who's got a lot of potential here, somebody who is learning, studying, learning maybe a new skill in a new job. I didn't see a lot of aces coming through. Actually, you don't see any aces coming through, so I don't feel like it's a new job opportunity or anything that's come up for June. But I do feel it is a growing phase with in terms of feelings and in terms of being aware of your potential as far as money and skill levels go. Again, in terms of money with the Four of Pentacles, and there's a progression, of those skills coming together with the 3, the 2, 3, and the 4. So definitely growth coming through for the month of June. With the Four of Pentacles, this is about you attaining some success, for your hard work. So you've got some money that's coming in here for the month of June, but you're hanging on to it. You're hanging on to it maybe in a control freak sort of way, a little bit possessive. But either way, it's representing some kind of emotional security, something that makes you feel that you're okay, you're safe. I do feel, it is a card of hoarding, but I don't know that I'm feeling that there's a hoard of money, but just that you're hanging on really tight. You've got a strong grip here on that stability. But but I do feel it's stability that's coming from many resources as well, especially with the Two of Pentacles. So, but again, it could be you just also, in addition to that, you're holding back emotionally as well, being a little bit protective about your feelings. You're not opening up too quickly as well. So again, because I feel that there's at least 3 Cancerian types that I'm kind of addressing here, because that can be a little bit of a stubborn energy as well. Although I don't see a lot of strong cards around it, so I'm not going to say that it's, I think it's more just hanging on tight and being protective. You've got the Five of Cups here. Because there's so many emotional cards here with the Wands and the Cups, I just feel that you are going through some kind of emotional, as I say, enlightenment, and as the other card said, epiphany. This is feeling that you feel that there's some kind of emotional loss, but in all actuality, I think it's just you focusing on the negative. You're projecting your fears, feeling that there's loss. You may only be seeing losses and not gains in regards to some aspect of your life. So it might be arguments, as I mentioned, where some kind of relationship is strained, whether on the physical front, emotional front, a little bit of drama, that kind of thing. But somebody isn't working as a team player here. But again, I feel it's just you, perhaps just, you're learning from your mistakes here, but, and you definitely have learned some valuable experiences here, but I just feel that you're just not seeing everything in a positive way just yet. That's toward the end of the month. Or at least you're feeling that there's some kind of a loss. Whatever that loss is, I don't know, but I feel that you're going through some kind of a loss or feeling of struggle. I'm going to pull these ones over because I kind of skipped a bit here. This was actually just prior to that feeling of loss. So I think at the very end of the month, as I said, you've got some positive happiness, coupleship going through there. Whether it was on a business front, or a family front, or relationship front, but these are all cards of some heavy anxiety and change here. So you've got the two of Swords here, which can also speak to having to make some kind of a decision or some kind of stagnancy going on in a relationship of sorts. Again, that could be on the business front, things not moving ahead, just things at a bit of a halt. The Two of Swords, it is about still trying to find a balance, but it's also about repression of feelings. So I feel that you're holding back some things emotionally, or that you're keeping to yourself, whatever it is, you're not quite there you're not ready to reveal it just yet. There's still some inner conflicts going on, and it's difficult for you to maybe make a decision or express yourself. It's also about two paths. You're defining yourself in a new way. So there's still maybe some residual of the old way, but you are moving into the new way with the Two of Swords. So again, it was followed by the Judgment card. So there was some kind of a message that's coming through here with the Judgment card and the Eight. Eights are all about getting past, difficulties and communications coming in swiftly. So whether it's by email or a lot of communication coming through, and also with the Seven of Wands, you're feeling like the need to defend yourself, but you are, with the Page of Swords, able to move forward. But again, I just feel that there is a little bit of difficulty toward the end of June, where you're struggling emotionally. Maybe there's a little bit of back and forth communications on the internet, something along that line. But either way, it gets resolved. So again, you've got Seven of Wands there, feeling defensive, but you're still able to move past it. As I said, you end up with the Page of Swords here too. So Page of Swords is, messages coming through. And again, with the Judgment card, it speaks to that transformation. So there was that transformation, and a lot of back and forth messages that were communications to resolve whatever the issue was, and you were feeling defensive, but again, with that Judgment card, you've awakened to some part of yourself, and so you're able to transform. Page of Swords, again, is clarity. The Page of Swords brings in a message, but I feel with the Page of Swords, this is also about you moving into a place of learning, standing up for yourself. There was some kind of imbalance, power play, that kind of thing. This is a card of just change. So be patient with your progress. I feel that you've got inspiration here. You've got a thirst for knowledge. I just feel that overall you found your way through it. This is a righteous path. This is about you being diplomatic, and you've got your ideas, you're moving forward, you've got you're ready for action, you're being direct, the ideas are coming through, the words are coming through, the knowledge, as I say, is starting to allow you to connect with other people. So either way, I do feel that you're back on the journey here. Sorry, I had a little bit of a distraction there that kind of caught me off guard. And again, I also have the card, as I said, the Emperor. I went through earlier, I felt was you or another person in your sphere. But again, with the Two of Cups, I did feel that was also about, something on an emotional front here. So the Two of Cups for sure is about balancing events. It's also, 2 4s, that kind of thing. 6s, they're all about finding balance. You definitely found the harmony here by the end of the month. There's cooperation. You've got some kind of twinning energy, and I feel this is like a twin energy karmic sort of relationship because it's all over the reading. But again, it's that contract has been fulfilled. You've got happy family and groundedness coming through. You've got reconciliation, forgiveness. There's a new partnership. It's, kind of a privileged union here. It's a divine union. It is, there's a lot of attraction between these two people here. And with the Four of Wands, it's back on strong footing. So again, not an awful lot. There's a lot more inward transformation taking place for you as a person, Cancer, versus a lot of money coming in. I still feel that you're working on projects, but I don't feel that there's a lot of, there's still money coming in, but you're more just hanging on to it, still working on mastering something or working, period, and enjoying your work. But I don't feel there's a lot of changes on that front yet. There really wasn't much in there for Pentacles. There was the 2, 3, and 4. There's growth for sure, but you were hanging on to the money. So again, this Four of Wands is also, in terms of money, does speak to more money coming back to you. It is something that is letting you know it's coming in, and it is in the future position here, toward the end of the month. So it is also something letting you know about people coming into your life. You've got some happiness that's coming through. You're attracting those new people, positive feelings, joy, happiness, things that you are creating, you're manifesting. So overall, really excellent read. I've only got 4 more cards to go, which is actually related to the advice cards. Oh, sorry, I forgot the last one here. This was the new deck. So it's a little bit short, it's not, that is the hey you, or however. Anyway, it's just an announcement is what this card means. It's an announcement that you've got nothing to fear. There might be something that looks ominous, but it's just an illusion. There's no power in whatever this negativity was. You have challenges for the month of June, but there's nothing to it. There's nothing that you're not going to be able to overcome. So again, challenges are every day of the week. So the only thing I would say is when you do have to face an obstacle or a challenge, learn something. Learn something every day. Learn something, anytime you have to overcome something. I don't think it's just enough for anybody to just say that you've won. I think you need to really look at a problem or an issue from various angles to be able to really feel that it becomes a strategy or a tool or a resource. So to say that you've won something in that moment, again, if it's an argument, doesn't mean it won't arise again. I think it's really important for you to learn something from that situation. Really reflect on it. Anyway, Queen of Gabriel is you can do anything right now. Go after what you want. The ability to attract helpful people, which again, this is really a repeat of a lot of the other cards in the reading. I think that one's pretty self-explanatory. It's not, you've really been able to manifest a lot of your own healing here. So for the month of June, and I think you've got a pretty good mindset about where you're headed and what you want. I feel that you are focusing more on career aspects, even though there's a lot of karmic energy and healing coming through. I feel that that healing was more to do with your own personal journey and separating from that, from the other person to be able to get to that place. So even though there was an overriding energy around the relationship, and again, a few different Cancerians here, not just speaking to one, I feel that is, it was still you operating a little more on an independent basis, not in close contact with this other person. So Queen of Michael, brilliant, self-reliant, insightful, and humorous. You know exactly what to do, the benefit of experience, and a time for your career rather than relationships. So there you go. Queen of Michael, pretty much it's letting you know that you're on the right track. Focusing on your money and being prepared, and finding that balance through other relationships. So your romantic relationship, you found some kind of a balance, you've created some kind of boundaries, you were willing to discuss things to a point, and then it's up to the other person to sort of, hold up their end of the bargain as well. But in terms of the Queen of Michael, which can speak to a person as well, it's a brilliant-minded person, somebody who's got a great sense of humor, who's very perceptive and cool, calm, and collected, that kind of thing. Very analytical and courageous. So this could also speak to a faithful friend and somebody that's giving you some wise counsel or some really good advice. So again, could be a person or situational, letting you know that you just need to start focusing on your career and make things happen, which I feel is exactly where you're at. I think that you're enjoying your work that you're doing right now, and you're actually able to create some stability. You have I'm going to read the Epiphany card first because it goes from 9 to 10. So again, there's still progression here. Joy through spiritual growth, be a light to others, answers that come through meditation. So Epiphany is exactly that. It's about you discovering your true self, whether it's through meditation, hearing it in dreams or whatever, however it comes to you, but you're exploring, you're going within. And it is about things, people showing up at the right moment. Again, that could be a mentor, somebody who, like I said, is able to help you with your career, that is able to share somehow on that journey with you anyway. But it is still opening up to be more of a self-discovery route. So even though you're bringing other people in here, you're still on the route to self-discovery. You're still building on your own mystery. So it's also a card of advice coming through for you with the Epiphany. It's advice coming through from somebody else. So the next card is the Wheel of Fortune. And again, the wheel is turning in your favor. New beginnings, end of delays, a change in direction that offers happiness. Sorry, I know that keeps going in and out of visual. So anyway, exciting changes are coming with this card, and it did speak to big changes coming through with some of the other cards in the career and finance part of it. So if you're finding it difficult to get your plans off the ground, that's all going to change now. So I suspect as of July, you're going to start seeing those changes. But it's unexpected events, people that are coming into your life here in the month of June. Fresh start, you've got optimistic future coming through here, and your ability to adapt with the Wheel of Fortune. So again, overall, you have a lot of positivity coming through, a lot of self-discovery and bringing in new people into your life and healing old relationships, but lots of reason to celebrate because you do take that time out to celebrate with the 9 of Cups and the 10 of Cups in there earlier as well. So again, you've got victories coming through and things that are bringing you happiness in the month of June. So whatever those moments are for you, enjoy, and we'll see you in July.